Hello there, my name is Vanessa Smedley and I'm a painter. Well, it is springtime once more. Thank you, Lord. Not that I haven't had enough snow for a while. But anyway, we are going to paint this lovely little harbinger of spring right here. It is a daffodil hill, which I have mentioned once before. You can click the link above for that video if you'd like. But we're going to kind of zoom back and show you the whole thing, and we're going to try out the Caran Neocolor 2 Aquarelle wax pastels, which, if I'm honest with you, is basically a glorified water-soluble crayon, and they look exactly like crayons. So we're going to have a lot of fun trying those out. It's kind of an interesting medium. So let's do this. So this is the Caran Neocolor 2 Aquarelle wax pastels. As I've said, they are glorified crayons, water soluble, but they come in this really nice, handsome tin right here, and you open them up like that. Nice little red on the inside, which wouldn't be good for color mixing, but it is rather attractive. And here's what they look like. And like I said, they are basically just glorified crayons. They look exactly like your standard everyday little kid's crayon, but only they are water soluble. So this is what they look like. I have a set of I think that's 30, and they have very bright colors. There's not, I mean, it's not super kind of like conducive to realistic like landscape type colors. There's a couple in here that'll work for that, but other than that, they're just very, very bright, saturated colors. So I'm just gonna move this out of the way. I'm gonna show you kind of how you use them, really. This is carmine, and you just like any other water-soluble, either colored pencil or watercolor pencil, whatever, you just, as dark as you wanna make them, that is how dark they will be. And then you just grab, usually I like to use water brushes for this kind of stuff, so that's what I've got here, the Derwent push button water brushes, and I just love those. They're amazing. But anyway, you just activate it just like you do any of the other like water soluble type products, and you can just drag them out as far as you want. And the only thing that I will say about these is they tend to be a little bit chalkier or not quite as transparent as like some of the other types of products like that. Like, it's not just your typical watercolor type of a situation. They are a little bit waxy because, you know, they're made with wax. So they're not quite as, I don't know, transparent, I guess, as a lot of the other things. And they can get muddy pretty quickly when you mix them with other colors. So anyway, that's how it works. So I'm just gonna kind of use them as crayons in this tutorial. You can, if you want to, use it like this also, where you scribble a bunch of the color onto one of these little palettes, or just a separate sheet of paper if you want to, and then activate it. And then, you know, that's where you get more kind of exact type of effects. If you want to be a little more detailed, that's how you would do it, because otherwise it literally is just like drawing like a crayon, and you're not gonna get super crisp lines with it. You know, and you're definitely gonna get some of that rough, like on this watercolor paper, you're definitely gonna kind of get some of that rough texture through. So I don't know, it's very interesting. So we'll see what you think after we do the old test on them. I'm starting out with the sky like I normally do, and I have grabbed a light blue here, and I'm just giving it kind of a very light once over on the sky, and then going ahead and wetting that, and we're gonna let that dry before we come back in with other colors. Now that all of that has dried, I am grabbing Umber, which is kind of a brownish, greenish, grayish color. I'm going to do these trees in the background, so I'm kind of just scribbling this in. I'm skipping little places where there's going to be some greener bushes in the front.
Next I'm grabbing some brown for some brown foliage in the background here. Then light olive for the top of the bushes that I skipped. And then I'm going to use dark olive for the bottom of those same bushes. Next we have a big evergreen tree here, so I'm going to keep with the dark olive, and then I'm going to add a little bit of scarlet at the bottom to kind of gray that out and make it darker. And then since these colors don't get very dark at all, I'm going to go ahead and add in some black at the bottom, and that should make it quite a bit darker. Rather than including some houses that are back here, I have actually just extended this big long hedge. I started with light olive at the top and then dark olive at the bottom, added a little bit of ultramarine at the bottom, and also into that evergreen tree. Next, I grabbed some lemon yellow to start adding in the daffodils, and once I began that, I decided maybe I should stop and actually go back and activate what I've already laid down first. So I picked up my medium water brush and just began to activate these furthermost trees, and we're really just mixing all of that color together and creating a very light backdrop for this. I'm doing each element separately, the bushes in the front and then the large evergreen tree. And it looks like that ultramarine blue that I added to that evergreen did help it to look like an evergreen color, so thankfully that worked. And next I went ahead and activated the top of the hedgerow, and then came back and did the bottom of the hedgerow. And now I have picked back up my lemon yellow, and I'm adding in all these nice little clumps of these sunny little daffodils. And of course I'm applying perspective by making the specks much smaller in the background and making them larger and larger as I move forward into the foreground. And then for some variation, I pick up the regular yellow crayon, add a little bit of that, and then ochre for the middle of the flower. And of course I'm only adding that on the flowers that are the closest to us because they're the only ones you'll actually see it. I'm going to work on the tree trunks, so I'm grabbing this umber color back again. I'm going to add that on the tree in the background, and then on the tree in the foreground I'm leaving a little strip where I add brown. And then I come back in with black for the shadow side, and then I do the same sequence of events on the other tree. On these branches for now, I'm only doing the largest ones. I will come back in with a brush to do the smaller ones. Next I have light olive, and I'm going to give all of the grass just a nice light coat first of all. And I'm making sure to draw around the daffodils so that I don't sully their nice lovely bright yellow color. So I'm just adding in where there's grass. I'm filling in a little bit in between, but right now that's all we're going to do. So I have the dark olive now, and I'm adding in some of the shadows, the cast shadows from the trees. Now I'm taking a break from adding color and using my small water brush to go ahead and activate the trees. And I'm trying to be as delicate as I can for all these little branches. And since there's one tree basically directly in front of the other tree, I'm activating the tree in the background first and then coming back in and doing the one in the front. And that just helps to keep them separate a little bit, and possibly I should have slightly changed the positioning of the trees, but I really just liked the way these two shadows come across the entire picture. Next I have the dark olive, and I'm going to go ahead and add in all the stems for all the daffodils. And I'm making sure as I'm adding them to add them in kind of a slashing motion, making them actually look like stems in kind of this vertical pattern here. And that's going to help differentiate that from just the rest of the short grass later. For a little bit of variety in our green, I'm going to add some emerald green here. And I'm doing this very lightly because that is a very, very intense color. So I'm adding just a tiny little speck of that. And then I'm coming back in with black for the darkest parts of the shadows. And I'm not adding this in every area, I'm just doing it in the very darkest parts of the shadows for now. I decided to go ahead and add some variety to the grass by adding a little bit of ochre here at the top, and now we are ready to activate. So I have my big flat water brush, and I'm just going to start with all of that grass area. So I'm starting with the light areas, then I go to the shadow areas, and I am painting around all of these daffodils for now. We're just doing the flat grass right now. After all of that kind of dried a bit, I am coming back in with my small water brush and I am activating all of the yellow for the daffodils first. I'm doing them by themselves for now. I don't want all of that yellow to be kind of muddied with all of the green, so I'm doing it by itself for now. Now that the yellow has had a chance to dry, I'm going to activate all of the stems. And I'm using my smallest water brush, and I'm still using those vertical sweeping motions to help with the effect of all of those kind of spiky stems. And I'm having to be very careful with this and kind of wipe my brush off very often because that black, once you get into it, is very, very strong, and I don't want it to overtake everything and get super muddy. So especially where the black is, I'm having to clean my brush often and just kind of activate the black in the areas that it already is and not let it spread around too much. This portion of the drawing is where I definitely confirmed in my mind that it was going to be a much more impressionistic style than what I'm normally used to. And that's totally fine because this is a completely different medium and that's just kind of the nature of this medium. So unless I wanted to scribble a bunch of pigment onto the separate palette and add it in a lot more sharply, it was just going to be like this. So I decided to go ahead and embrace the medium for what it is and use it in that manner and have it be a lot more blurry than I'm used to. But I think I kind of like that effect for this, honestly. It's a little more blurry, a little more soft focus, if you will. Okay, now since we have these two trees casting shadows across the middle of this, I'm going to go ahead and add in some green over the top of the yellow of the daffodils, and that's going to give it a little cooler feel and make it look like it's in the shadow. Just in that little middle strip, of course. Decided to add a little bit of interest and variation by adding some ultramarine blue to the shadows. Just needed a little bit more punch to the shadows and just a little bit more variation for my liking. I also strengthened the emerald green and the black, then came back into the cast shadows, strengthening that with the dark olive and then adding a little bit of ultramarine into it as well. I also decided to strengthen the ochre on the middle bit of the flowers that are closest to us. And then of course we go back in and activate all of the stuff that we just strengthened. Just adding another round of lemon yellow on top of that to make it a little bit more defined. As my final step, I'm going to add in some more branches to all of the big trees here. So I'm using the umber and the black, and then I'm activating that on the palette, picking it up with my smallest water brush, and I'm going to add in some nice, lovely little spontaneous, tiny little branches here. And using it in that manner is what affords me that extra sharpness there. There's no way that I could have done it that sharp by just scribbling a crayon on it. And here's the finished product, all dry and with the tape removed. And to be honest with you, I got a lot more definition out of that than I thought I was going to do when I started it. So I'm really pretty much happy with that. And just so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about, here's a nice zoom in for you so that you can see the textures and stuff like that.
And there you have it, a nice Neocolor 2 painting of a lovely daffodil hill. I mean, it's definitely not as sharp as I normally do it, but hey, I mean, it's all about the experience, and it was kind of a lot of fun. So, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, all of that stuff, because that's how this channel gets to grow. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again next time.